see what's wrong. Okay.
So, yes, yes, like an ignorant fool. It's fixed. I think. Can you hear us? Tell us you can hear us, please. Beautiful. Now then. So, we better start again, haven't we? Right, so Toxic Hunter, thank you for your question. I answered it so well, but unless you're a lip reader, that's still no use. We're wearing masks. Um, I I'm happy in the sense that we have. Well, I'm pretty happy because I think Hartlepool are a strong side, and I think they showed it. I'm happy that we kept a clean sheet because of very difficult conditions. I don't know if I came across on the stream. I mean, the pitch is soaking wet here now. It was a very strong wind down the pitch all through the match, sort of blowing from the sort of turf corner, if you will, which helped Hartlepool a lot in the first half, and I think helped us in the start of the second half. So I'm pretty satisfied with it. I'm very pleased that it came after that Aldershot game because we were terrible at Aldershot and needed to show some guts to bounce back from it, and we did. So I'm happy about that. I would much rather we win games. I'd much rather we win home games. I'd much rather we beat the teams from the top end of the table to drag them back down. But all things considered, and after Aldershot, and after the first 20 minutes when Hartlepool played some really nice football, I'm pretty satisfied. Although I can see some very good questions about specifics of the game coming up, which I think are fair questions. But what do you think, Jay?
For me, if you look at the long scheme of things, we've taken 4 points off a good side this year in Hartlepool, and I think Hartlepool are actually a good side. For me, we defended incredibly. We defended really well. Can't knock the defenders at all. Second half, we started off really fast, but for me, the whole grand scheme of things, I'm not feeling sad. I'm not feeling happy. I'm just feeling content after that, especially after the Aldershot game.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question from Heiko Woody is a good point. Do you think Jay Harris should have come on? If he was on the bench, surely he was fit enough. And I mean, yeah, now that's a really. I'm inclined to go along with you. In that on Saturday, Keith said that he didn't pick him because the pitch was heavy and he was concerned he's sort of like 50-50 and that could make him worse. And I think he's sensible in taking that view. If he's not got 90 minutes in him, fair enough. But does that mean that you use him today? Maybe so. I mean, admittedly, I suppose if you throw him on for half an hour, the pitch is heavy by this point. Maybe he's now starting to think, well, I don't know. I thought the midfield were pretty good. In that, okay, you wouldn't replace Jarvis with Harris, I don't think. That would be a very negative move. And Young and Davis, I thought, did a hell of a lot of hard work, especially off the ball, closing down breakaways and slowing Hartlepool down. So I didn't think there was anyone calling out to be taken off. But having said that, I have to admit that Harris has got a decent range of passing. Harris has a great aggression, and you do wonder whether he would have been able to snap in and make a difference in the latter stages of a game like this. You've got to remember, though, that we had to waste one of our substitutions on an injury. So he may well have thought of using Harris, but once Hall Johnson's broken down and we've had to bring Horsfield on, that then means he's only got 2 more changes to go. And I think in the light of that, in a team which is looking pretty solid without the ball, but is struggling to make chances, it does make sense that Durrell, our most creative player on the bench, and Ponticelli, the striker on the bench, are the two that come on. In that context, I think that's sensible.
Yeah, I have to agree there to an extent, but I wouldn't have brought Harris on because of the conditions. If he has a niggle and he's still not quite right, I wouldn't have put him on because the conditions today, I don't think it portrayed very well in the stream. Well, it may have done, it may not have done, but it was horrendous out there, very slippy. The players were slipping all over the place. I wouldn't have put him on personally. I think Durrell was the right man to come on. I think he was quite lively, wasn't he? But again, we didn't really create much chances as he come on as well. So again, he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad as well. So it's one of them.
Yeah, exactly. I could see why he was brought on as well, and that we were getting to positions to play that killer ball, and then weren't playing them in correctly. The start of the second half, I was thinking we were going to do this here, because we were getting runners in, and players weren't quite hitting them. So I could see the logic of, well, if Durrell's on, he can try and hit people, but it didn't. It didn't. Well, actually, the game just felt like it changed a little bit at that point, and we weren't getting into those positions as much. Right. So now then, Louis Williams. Now, Louis, I've seen your question, and if you're able to, if you're still listening, I'd really like you to come back and answer something for me, because you said no shots on goal. Keats happy with a clean sheet and a point, not good enough. Can I just check? So I want to answer that question because I think it's an interesting point. Did Keats say that in the stream afterwards? That's what I wanted to just double check on, whether he actually that's what he said on the stream, because obviously we haven't had a chance to see that. So Louis, I'll keep an eye out for a reply from you, because I think if he did or didn't, I think affects what my answer would be to that. If I'm honest, we'll come back to that. Tom Evans. Now, Tom, I've got to say you're a clairvoyant, because you definitely can't lip read us. We've got the masks on. I did notice your question before the microphone came on, so I'm slightly confused as to how you knew what we were saying, because surely you couldn't tell. You said, how can we be so positive about that display? No shots on target, 2 off target. How long do I have to put up with this? Keats has to go. We don't deserve this every week. Keats out. I don't agree with you, Tom. I'm going to be straight. I don't agree with you. I mean, all I can say really is that we aren't entitled to win every single game. I'd like us to. I'd love it. Don't get me wrong. But you have to look at what's worked and what hasn't worked. And I think in the first half we were up against a good team against the Wind, and they drove forwards. I thought we defended very well, which I find pleasing. I think surely you'll agree that the 3 centre-backs were excellent. And in the second half we tried to get at them. I don't think this is like some of the other games where we've not been creative enough because we just haven't got those qualities. I think since Angus came in, we have looked better going forwards. But Hartlepool are good, and we lack the finishing touch. So I don't know.
I think you can look at this game however you want to look at it. You can either look at it as Wrexham defended fantastically against a striker who was in Luke Armstrong, who scored 8 in the last 12, and we've nullified him, and he's looked unstoppable in recent games. Yeah. Or you can look at it as, we've not created any chances, we've not had any shots. Either way, you can just look at it in a balanced way. I think you should look at it as in, yes, we've defended really well in the back three and the defence were fantastic. But also, you can be critical and say that we didn't create enough and we didn't have enough shots on goal. Just be a bit more balanced, I think.
I think that's right, and there's a few comments along those lines as well, and I agree. I mean, I'm jumping around a bit. I'll come back to the Rivers, don't worry. But Stuart Pritchard had a point here. He said, I'm a fair guy. Remember my double comment, Mark, which I do remember quite right, saying that you'd reassessed him. But this is some of the most negative football ever. Maybe this is a key to this sort of disconnect between different groups of fans. I genuinely don't see it as intending to be negative. The thing is that in the first half here, Hartlepool are very good, firstly. I mean, having scouted them, we both looked at their last game, didn't we? And they really moved the ball around well. They're a strong team. So they're a strong side. They kick with the Wind. The Wind did have, honestly, I mean, as I said, I don't know if it showed up on the stream or not. The Wind had a massive effect on the game. And it was at its strongest in the first half. And, we rode our luck a bit at the very start, because I think we came at them a bit. We used our wing-backs as usual to get up the pitch, and we were just leaving ourselves exposed, and we rode our luck in the early stages, and therefore had to cover up. You know what I mean? If a team's outplaying you and making chances, you can't just carry on attacking them because they'll score. So we had to make a decision. I think we've got to close ourselves down. And I was saying in the commentary that I was quite pleased with the first half, because we had to fight, keep a clean sheet in the first half, and earn the right with the Winds to get at them in the second half. So I suppose one man's negative is another man's gutsy, isn't it, really? I mean, I thought we did well in the first half because we didn't have much of the ball. We were driven back and we defended superbly, I thought. Well, superbly. Yeah, I can say superbly. The back three were great. The 2 wing backs didn't come forwards after about the first 10 minutes, because clearly we were thinking we can't do this. But we were still, right, I've got a big advantage over you on the stream because I can see the entire pitch. What we did was we dropped the wing backs back, and we left Young and Davis back, but that was partly because Hartlepool play with a very sort of pronounced 3, White is a holding midfielder, and he sits in front of the 3, and that allows everyone else to bomb on. The wing-backs bomb on, but also the 2 midfielders are not sort of central midfielders, if you like. It's more like what England did in the World Cup, where you've got a holding midfielder, like Eric Dyer, and so because of that, you can have like Lingard and Ali bombing on, and those 2 really, I would argue, you wouldn't really think of as out-and-out central midfielders, but their job was to be more like attacking box-to-box midfielders, because Dyer can sit in there and you can have that extra insurance. And they do that with Shelton and Houlihan, whose passing at times was absolutely amazing. And so we did that, but then to counteract it, Jarvis has pushed right up as not quite a third striker, but he wasn't told to drop off. And I think the thinking was, we'll keep the clean sheet primarily, but then we've got those 3. They stayed up the pitch. That limited their wing-backs a bit, because in the Yeovil, as Jay will agree, I'm sure, the wing-backs were terrifically attacking. And it meant we had a chance to break, which we didn't use very well, because we failed to hit them. So I'd accept that. But see, I just thought that was us buying our right to be in the game, rather than say, let's just go for it, and then be 3-0 down at half-time and the game's over. I don't know. Am I wrong, Che? If I am, that's fair enough.
Well, no, I kind of take your point. To be honest, I kind of agree. I think I would the pressure Hartlepool put us under, we could have been 2 or 3 down, but you've got to give credit. I know you can say we played negative, whatever. You've got to give credit to our defence for keeping us in the game in the first half, especially the first 10 minutes. Hartlepool were relentless. And they have some cracking players, as you said. Houlihan, I thought, is fantastic, and they all move the ball really well. I can't really complain about that game. It's a 0-0 against the side that's in the playoffs, and they will be in the playoffs at the end of the season. So we've taken 4 points from them this season.
I said, like I said, CG said an acceptable point, however, a disgraceful performance, far too negative. But I'm sort of thinking, if it's an acceptable point, I would argue it's got to be a fairly decent performance. I think the point is that Hartlepool are, I think, genuinely good. Yeah. And I don't like saying this, but I'd probably say they're better than us. So if you draw the team that's better than you, and like you say, we beat them away, that's I think that's decent. I think I'd rather we win. Please understand. I've not been coming to Wrexham since the 70s because I hope we don't win. I want us to win. But Bill Long, I know that guy, saying I watched no sound on while doing a few things and avoiding social media. I thought we were okay without being spectacular. Twitter seems to be in meltdown. What did I miss? Yeah, I think if indeed and Twitter's in meltdown, I just think that's a bit of an overreaction, considering how we were poor on Saturday. That was a meltdown moment a bit. But this is sort of us bouncing back from that. We could have shown no character, folded at the start, and got battered, couldn't we? Yeah,
I think if we would have won on Saturday, I think this result wouldn't have been so dramatic. As I said, I'm quite content, but maybe we're the only ones in the world that are.
Oh, no, I don't think so. We're the only ones, Yeah. But Tom Scott 2.0, Communist Edition, says, where can I get the new Alan Partridge badge and crest? Well, you need to attend an evening with Sue Cook. I think that's your best option. So another one. Oh yes, Dean Jones asking, Jarvis injured or annoyed? He went straight down the tunnel. I didn't see that. I assume he was not injured because he was quite busy just before he came off. I'm okay with the player being annoyed if he gets subbed because it shows he wants to play, and I think most managers would be as well. If you openly dissent against the manager, that's a different matter. If you have a bit of a strop and go down the tunnel, well, that shows you want to be on the team and on the pitch. So I think that's. I'd be inclined to say that's not an issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I would, on that point when he did take him off, I criticised Keats, and I think he took him off a little bit too early.
Yeah.
I think he should have kept him on for that a little bit longer until he did start getting tired, and then bring on Durrell as real fresh legs in the last 20 minutes. That would be my criticism. For that.
I was surprised when it happened. I suppose you can cut it two ways, can't you? On the one hand, he looked quite lively. I was looking to play through balls, getting into good positions, and that was why I was a little surprised. But on the other hand, he was getting into those positions. His specialist move, if you like, is playing decent passes in, either to, assists or the ball before the assist, and he wasn't hitting the men. So maybe you put in a player like that and see if the different one can do it. Because either way, can't you really? I don't know. I think Louis has got back to us. No, he hasn't. Okay. If you're still there, please, let's go for it. Okay, where are we? Oh, Ben Edwards, sorry, I explained this when the mic was off. Why is the Aldershot team down there? Yeah, if you look in the middle, I've also got the wrong writing on. I wanted to get up on here, and I didn't have time to fix that, and I just decided I'll put an apology in at the start, which then you didn't hear. Right. Gary Elstons, this is not the Wrexham we know. We're at home. I want to see us play football with pride. We're missing 5 players. Yeah, but then we are missing a few with injuries as well. I'd be happy with Vassell and Lainton available. I'd be happy with Jay Harris out there too. Yeah, the thing is, I don't think they're trying not to attack. I don't think that's the idea. Sometimes you have to defend though to stay in the game. I mean, as well, where was the comments? There was something about not attacking enough. But I mean, I would argue that. Oh, I can't see where it is now. Sorry. Yeah, okay, Hiker Woody's fair enough. I think we defended well. Carroll was superb, I agree. Let's be honest, normally in opponents like Ireland in defeat, Poole created 5 or 6 big chances. Yeah, we had our opportunity at the start of the second half to get at them and didn't create the chances we needed to. That was the concern. But I'm not as low as everyone else is, really.
I'm not happy. Of course, I'm not happy. I always want to see Wrexham win, but I'm not. Like, I suppose me and you have watched the last Yeovil v Hartlepool game, and for me, I thought they looked like a really good side. And coming off that heavy loss against Aldershot, I thought they might have really caused us real problems today. And I thought we nullified them. And to be honest, I would just take a point.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's a clean sheet. It's a decent point. We've got some winnable games coming up. Now, if we play like that in games against weaker teams, I'd be bothered. This not so much, although you do want to win your home games, and we've got a few games going up. The big teams still haven't come here apart from Hartlepool, and we need to start winning those matches as well. Tom Scott also says, how's the pitch looking? Wet, of course, but in good condition. We have hot pitch metal structures, so no excuses, you could argue. Basically, those things aren't on today, but wet. I like the fact we can swivel our cameras around and give you a very distant view, because it's not perfect, is it? And there's such a long lag on this. The connection's not been good in the stand today, and such a long lag. I still can't. It's still not on my screen what I'm showing you. So I hope I'm showing you the pitch. Lots of wet patches. You're quite right, but it is holding up really well. It's certainly a difference from how it was, say, a couple of years ago. Rain would definitely mean that next Saturday would be off. No, it's standing up rather well. Fair dues, Chally and his people. Right, a couple more, and we probably need to go home, I reckon. Barry Lloyd, you know what? I think I completely agree with that. That's funny, I've been thinking about this. Like every naturally says about how it's a disadvantage not to have a crowd, but an angry crowd could be a problem. Now, I think it's clear from what I've been saying all along in this, I am not somebody who thinks Keith should go. But, having said that, if we were playing games in front of the crowd, there would obviously be frustration, and that certainly wouldn't help, I don't think,
No, I don't think it would help at all. And I think if you look at the current table, I know teams around us have got games in handovers, but we're still in the playoffs. Wasn't that the goal at the start of the season? And if we're if we're still in the playoffs towards the end of the season, and we get into the playoffs, then isn't that half the goal achieved?
Yeah. Sounds reasonable to me.
Something to build on for next season at least, or even go up. But maybe I'm being too optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Evans, Mark, would you been happy paying a tenner to watch tonight's game with the way you went about it? I've got to be honest and say that I think another part of this is that I don't know. I don't tend I don't tend to watch Wrexham for entertainment, and I never have. I'm a fan. I watch them to see how they play, and I hope they get a good result. So I know this sounds thick, but yeah, I'm okay with it, because if I pay £10 to watch two teams that I don't really have any interest in, if I pay £10 to watch Norwich play Derby County and it's dull, I'd want my £10 back. But I don't know. I've always paid to watch Wrexham play until I started doing commentary stuff, and frankly, going to away games, I've never had my travel paid for me, so I'm pretty damn well out of pocket from doing this, and I've never regretted the fact that I've coughed up a £90 train ticket to go down to London to see us play horribly at Braintree or something, because for me, I want to see how we play, understand it, and see what stage we're at. It's supporting them and seeing how they play more than anything else. I would say.
I agree with that. I don't particularly watch a team to be entertained. I just watch a team to support them, I suppose, because they're my local town.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's right. It's a difference. I don't really watch. Yeah, I don't watch us to be entertained. If I'm perfectly honest, if we, I'd rather we smash 7 goals past teams. But if we crushed somebody, if we got a goal from that corner at the end, then believe me, I'd have enjoyed this game enormously. I don't know whether or not we were defending for a good chunk of it, so I don't know. I think it's tea time, innit?
Yeah.
Tea time. What am I talking about? Right. Look after yourselves, and sleep well. Goodbye, everybody.